Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Valerie, and we're at my home.
So, see this thing here? You remember this?
Yeah,
This is the, what is it called? The
it's
Wink
the
Relay?
Wink Relay, yes.
Wink Relay. Check it out. It's got a display. It's got two buttons to control wall switches. And it plugs into the wall outlet. So, well, I never can get this thing apart. But basically, this piece here replaces one of your wall switches, and actually up to two wall switches in this case, and then just attaches to the back here, and that's it. You end up with a control unit that you can control devices in your house.
It's pretty fat back here, and this thing is pretty thick too. I remember when you got this because it was around Thanksgiving time in 2015, and you pre-ordered it from Home Depot, and we had to go and pick it up on the day after Thanksgiving, and we were so excited to get it at the time. It's pretty neat. I mean, it was made by Wink. We used to use the Wink Smart Home Hub. And I would say this is definitely an idea that made a lot of sense because at the time, this was before voice assistants, and you had to pull out your phone every time you wanted to turn the lights on and off with your Wink app. So this was a lot nicer because you could actually just use this little display. It was a very clever device at the time.
But now there's something even better. And put this over here so everyone can see the difference. It's the brilliant smart home control system.
Yeah.
So let's unbox this thing and take a look how similar this is to that device, at least physically.
Well, it's probably going to work a lot better.
I hope it does work a lot better. So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
So this is the brilliant smart home control. We got to see this at CEDIA in 2018 down in San Diego when the company first launched this device. And it was one of our most popular videos on our YouTube channel for quite some time. Brilliant nicely sent us this to review, and we're really excited to take a look at it. So why don't you unbox it, Mark?
All right, sounds like a plan. All right, here we go. Here, I'll leave you the directions because it's got some great stuff on the back here to look at. And actually, you know what? I can't see this thing here because we want to compare that, right? All right, here we go.
It's a very nice box.
Very nice box. There's the brilliant control. Take a look. And so basically, it has a similar display to the Wink one we had, but you see it's a thin little panel, which is basically what the front of this thing was, except the display here sticks out. So you have this panel here with the two slider controls. So you can actually, this model can replace two wall switches, right? But they make one that replaces one wall switch, or three wall switches, or four wall switches. So you can have up to four switches replaced by this unit. Right, and then all of them have this display.
And this is a dimmer switch, right? This thing that slides up and down.
If you want to use it as a dimmer, you can use it as a dimmer. If, of course, it's not a dimmer switch, it would just use it on-off.
Oh, okay.
And then what else comes in? Okay, some paperwork, and then the Brilliant Home Control manual. So looks like it's a handy step-by-step guide on how to do it. That's kind of nice. All right, what else do they have in here? Let's see. This is probably the thing I like the best. So here's the plate that you mount onto the wall box, right? That's the switch box. And it has, in this case, because it replaces two, it has two units. Now take a look at the old one here. This one snapped off as well. This got this unit here. Basically, this is different.
This is so compact.
Yeah, it's much compact, less depth, and it hooks up to each wiring system, right? So that's really kind of nice. The other thing that's interesting, I was reading in the directions, is that while it has these two buttons here to test the lights coming on and off before you mount the faceplate, these screws are actually really a genius design. Because when you put these things in the wall boxes usually are wonky, right? They're not quite
Yeah, they're
level.
not perfect.
So these, the way they design these, and you can see the kind of the slits in them, as you put the screws in, these things will deflect as soon as they're tight enough. And you don't want to over tighten them. That way, this panel always ends up level, so that when you marry the wall plate, which I guess we'll find out in a little, there we go. When you marry the wall plate, it fits securely and squarely, so it's
And
not
snug,
warped or
yeah.
anything like that. So nice?
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yep. All right, so let's take this out of the picture now that we're now on to the brilliant.
Goodbye, Wink Relay.
Goodbye. All right, what else comes in the box? All right, so there's a bunch of wire nuts and a bunch of wires. So when you hook these up, if we want, we can put these into here and then use wire nuts, which they give you, and they give you a bunch of wire nuts. I won't take them all out, but they give you the wire nuts to hook them up. So you can
Okay.
either plug them directly into here, your wires, if they're long enough, or if you need to extend them, you can use these wires they give you. So they
Don't we
really
plug
thought
the
of it.
wires from the outlet into these things?
From the switch, yeah. I think we'll end up not using these wires, but you might have an installation in your house that doesn't have long enough wires to reach this, right?
Oh, okay.
So
that's what those are for.
you can use these as the extension. So, and they give you 8 of those that can all be hooked up.
That's
so.
neat.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice.
It looks like they've really thought through the installation process.
You've got everything you need to do it right. They integrate with quite a bit of things, right? So, like in our house, we have both Wi-Fi devices and Z-Wave devices and Zigbee devices, right? And the Z-Wave and the Zigbee mostly get controlled through our smart things. The other thing we have in the house is we have Alexa, Google Home Assistant, and we have HomeKit. And Brilliant works with all 3.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I'm kind of excited because I was worried it was just going to be Wi-Fi, in which case there's only a few integrations we would do. But because they work with smart things, all of our Z-Wave switches should work.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's really nice.
And then the nice thing is that if you're buying one of these for your home and you're not smart home geeks like us, a lot of things that you can buy that just work with Wi-Fi are going to work with the Brilliant as well.
Like what? Let's see, what do they have here? Got Sonos, right?
Sonos, Hue. Well, Hue's not Wi-Fi, I guess. Kind of. TP-Link, Wemo, Ecobee, August Locks.
Now check this out, the Genie
Oh, the
Rise door
Aladdin
opener.
Genie. We're going to try that pretty soon.
Yeah, so that should be pretty nice. So, and I suspect they have integrations coming all the time. And if you go to their website, they have a great page that shows you all the integrations they have and how they're set up and so forth. So I'm looking forward to installing it and trying it out.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's go do it. Okay, the first thing we did was we removed the old switches. Now in our case, our second switch has actually been disconnected because we don't need it anymore. But we do have one switch in the box, so this is the one that came out. And we label them with, this is ground, this one here is load, this one here is line, and this one here is neutral. Now, in the case of the Brilliant switch, you don't need to care about whether it's line or load because they actually sense that automatically, but I like to always label the wires anyway because later on you might change the switch back and you want to know which is which. So then it's just as simple as hooking it up. So this is the plate. This is the device you put into the wall that replaces your wall switches. And they got an on and off button here for the lights. You can actually test it after you install this before you put the faceplate on. And then they already supply you the screws with it. And they made them nice. They have little rubber gaskets so that they are captured, they don't fall out. And they want you to use these screws. So that's really important. All right, so since we only have one switch we're replacing, and it's just an on-off switch, we only need to put the ground here, and then in the back you see L1, L2, and basically this is the load side, and we're going to put our load line here. We're not going to use this other one here because we don't have a 3-way switch, but if we did, we would have to use the 3-way, would be plugged into here. There's great instructions, actually videos on the Brilliant site if you do have a 3-way configuration. Down here is the common, so that'll be the line here coming in. And then last is neutral, that's the white wire, this will go here, so let's hook it up. So first I'm going to connect up the ground. So you insert the wires all the way. They want you to make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. There we go. And tighten the screw down. All right, nice and snug. Give it a tug, make sure the wire doesn't come out. All right, next we're going to hook up the L1, which is the load. So that's our load. Hook that in here. Nice and snug, not going anywhere. Now we'll put in the common. I think we've got it snug. And then the last wire is the neutral. Now in this case, I had to actually put a pigtail wire onto the wire bundle for the neutrals so I could reach it outside the box. And we'll hook it up to the last one. It's nice and tight. So now all our wires are hooked up. Now we just got to make sure that up is up and put all the wires back in the box. All right, everything's in good, nice and snug. Okay, I've turned the breaker on. Now we'll test to see if it works. So no problem. Okay, now we're going to put the plate on. This is the control panel. And got to make sure it's up the right way. So up is this way. And there's bracket clips here. And you see the clips here. Just line it up. Slide it down. Make sure it's on all the way. That's it, we're on. We'll take off the plastic. There we go. The Brilliant's coming up. Now we can set it up. It says checking settings. Okay, so let's see. It says this is my only control. That's correct. So we press that. Those are the networks it sees. Well, we're SnobNet. Put in our password. You are now connected to SnobNet. All right, name your control. This is the part that always gets me about all this smart home stuff, is naming things. All right, next. Enter your email or log in to create a new account. Boy, you do everything right from here. All right, we're setting up account. It says it's registering it. Set up your account completely from your phone here, it looks like. And now it gives me the verification codes. All right, name your home. Okay, I've named our home. And next. Now it says connecting to the Brilliant Cloud. Please set a passcode to help you protect your privacy of your home. You successfully set up your Brilliant home with a passcode. Set up your lights. Well, we're Pacific time zone. This is located in the living room. Which room is your light and device in? It's in the living room. And we'll name this thing. How many switches control your light and device? Just one. What type of device is this? Standard light, power outlet, always on off switch, example fan. So we're an on-off switch, example fan. Please visit settings to change your configuration at any time. I'm sure we'll be doing that. Let's set up the virtual assistants integrations later. Enable live view access, and we'll say yes. I don't know what we'll do with it yet, but we'll say yes. Do you want to add your connected devices now? We'll say skip for now. All right, there we go. So let's see, off. It just turned off the fan. Press it again, and we turned it back on. It works. The Brilliant control panel actually supports 3 virtual assistants. So let's take a look. I come into the settings, and I look at what works with Brilliant. You'll see it supports Amazon Alexa, Apple HomeKit, and Google Assistant. So Amazon Alexa, we've already set it up, and that one's pretty normal. You basically just enter in your username and password for Amazon, and then you go to the Amazon Alexa app, and you add the Brilliant skill. Once you've enabled Alexa on the Brilliant Smart Home Control, that means it's another Alexa access point, just like your other Alexa devices, and you can control anything in the home just like you would with the other ones. Now the other one we have is Apple HomeKit. So it's easy to set this up. Just go to your iPhone, tap on the home icon, and then hit the plus key, say add accessory, set up Apple HomeKit on the Brilliant panel. It brings up a QR code. You just look at it with the phone, and you'll see it says I want to add a light to the phone. So I say add to home. The light is located in the living room. We'll call it Brilliant Control, living room fan. This is actually a switch for our fan, so we'll say fan and continue. I can come in and it's now an icon. Press it and it turns on the fan. And then you can press it again and turn it off. And that's it. You now have HomeKit talking to the Brilliant control panel. The HomeKit integration with the Brilliant control panel only integrates the 2 physical switches. Now, the other thing we want to be able to do, of course, is integrate all of our other devices that we have in the house. Let's look at settings. You go down to Works with Brilliant. And as you can see, they support quite a bit of things. And when you click on one of these, what will happen is it'll actually send an email to actually do the setup. Let's look at SmartThings. Now, in the case of SmartThings, we've already included 92 devices that are on our SmartThings hub into the system. Now, this is just for lights and switches. It doesn't bring in sensors and things of that nature. What you can do is when you get the email and you click on the link, it will take you to your Samsung account on the web, and you can actually specify which devices on SmartThings you want to include. So I hadn't included the attic switch, but now I can because it actually discovered that there was one more because I told the web interface to add it to Brilliant. So now what happens is if I say add devices, it shows the attic light. It's a G switch, and I can add it by just pressing on it, pressing continue. And now I can assign it to a room, or I can actually create a room if I want. But I have a room called attic. I just say finish, and that's it. I've now added that switch. And you'll see now it's showing 93 devices are confirmed to be part of the control panel. Okay, now the other thing is when we set up this particular Brilliant control, we actually have 2 sliders, but we only actually had 1 active switch in the box when we did the replacement. That meant that the second slider was not assigned because it had nothing wired to it. But the nice thing here is I can come in to sliders in the settings page, and as you see, slider number 1, the one on the left, that is controlling our living room fan. And I can go to settings number 2, and you'll notice I don't have it wired to anything, but I actually assigned it to our kitchen main switch. So I can actually come in here, and any of the devices that I have brought into the system, I can actually assign it to that slider. I can say, turn it on, and you notice it just turned it on, and it turned on our kitchen main lights. I can press it again, and it turned it off. The other thing you can do with a Brilliant control panel is you can actually set up scenes. So I come here to scenes, and you'll see there's some scenes already defined, all lights on, all lights off, and so forth. But I can create either a new scene or I can edit this scene. So press the edit button, kitchen lights on, and you see they're already in here. Those are all the kitchen lights. So I've got actually 3 switches in the kitchen, and now they're all part of that scene. And now if I want to turn the kitchen lights on, I just press kitchen lights on, and it turns them all on. And we also created a scene called kitchen lights off. And of course, I can turn all the kitchen lights off. So the other thing you can do is you can actually set up privacy on this control panel. And I can come in here and I can say view privacy settings, configuration lock. And the really nice thing is I can actually set it up so that no one can make changes to the configuration of this Brilliant control panel. And if you have children and you have one of these devices in the room, you can actually set up a child lock. Okay, we've now got our Brilliant control panel completely set up. Now let's try to use it. So first of all, I can obviously go here and I can press the button to turn the fan on in the living room, or I can press the other one to turn on the lights or off the lights in the kitchen. And I can come into the screen, and what happens is it comes up with a home screen here where it shows you lights, cameras, and I happen to add 2 scenes to it, one that turns an outlet on and one that turns an outlet off. But if I come to lights, as you can see, by room it has all the lights. So I can actually say all off or all on if they were already off, or I can individually control them. So for example, our Christmas tree, I can turn it off or I can turn it on. So really easy. If I want, I can change the room. Remember, we added an attic switch. I can turn that on or off here as well. And I can also look at the cameras I have. So we actually included our Ring setup. And as you can see, we have a backyard camera and we have a front door camera. So for example, I can say live view of the front door. And you see a video of the front door. Now what's really nice, I can hold the talk, so I can talk to the person. Their voice will also come through. And if you have a compatible smart lock setup, you can lock or unlock the door. Okay, the other thing that comes along with a Brilliant smart home control is an app. So I can bring up an app, and you see what happens is all the scenes we had, they come up here. I can actually create a scene from here if I want. No, not a problem. I can create a scene. I can also look for devices. And so here I can come in here and say lights. And it gives me a full list of all the lights throughout the house by room. And what's really nice is I can turn on or turn off all the devices in that room. Or for example, if I'm looking at the kitchen, I can expand it and then I can control things individually if I'd like. You have access to cameras, but here you only have access to the live view. So I'm going to turn on live view because live view is actually a camera here in the control, and I can remove the privacy screen. I can remove that, and you can see me right here, and I can turn the sound on and turn the sound off, and I can talk through it. But we find that this video isn't really sharp. I expected it to be a lot better, but it works. If you're using this as an intercom, for example, if you had a second Brilliant smart home control, you could use this as a simple intercom from room to room. But one really cool feature we found was the ability to add photos to our front panel. And it really makes the Brilliant smart home control panel really nice looking in the room. So I can come into the shared library, and as you see, they have some canned pictures you can put up on the screen, or you can take pictures, your favorite pictures yourself from your library, and add them. And so, for example, we have a picture here of our Christmas tree, and we don't want that anymore, so I just turned it off. And then if I had any photos that I wanted to upload, I would just say upload photos, and they'll show up on the screen, And the nice thing is it just cycles through every few seconds. It cycles from picture to picture to picture. The other thing you can do with this is you have all this on. Now, what if you don't want this picture to be up here like it's late at night? You don't want this making light in the room. You can come into settings and you can come to display and you have options. You can set its brightness. You can set up a lock screen if you want. You can make it display off unless someone touches the pad or there's motion, or you can leave the display on. You can have it on all the time or only during certain hours. So for example, we set it up to be from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. The screen will be on all the time. And then at 11 o'clock at night, the screen will turn off unless it detects motion or someone touching it. And there's a motion sensor built into the panel right here. Well, that's it. We've set up our brilliant smart home control. It was easy to install. It was easy to set up. And they're adding integrations all the time to add more devices into this control panel. So the Brilliant Smart Home Control is a really nice device to have in the house because I can walk up to this thing and no matter what I want to do, I can control the things in the house. I can turn on lights, I can open the garage door, I can look at the video doorbell. All those things are easily accessible now via this one device in the house. No more having to have multiple apps. It's nice and simple, very easy to use. Now, while I can create scenes, I can't create automations. There's no sensors that have been hooked up to this. So the only sensor we have is the one in the panel itself. So that's not going to give me much control. So I think in the future, if they can add sensors and they can let you do automations, it'll be a really powerful platform. The other thing that's very nice about it is they integrate with the 3 major virtual assistants. So that's it. That's the Brilliant Smart Home Control. Thanks for watching our video today. We'll put links in the description below on where to buy. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring the bell so you'll be notified the next time we post a video. And for more smart home stories, visit appmyhome.com. Thank you.